I'm Jonna.
And I'm Jackie.
And this is our first official episode.
So exciting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, how's your weekend?
You know, it was a weekend. It was, it was like life after COVID. We had a party for my cousin, and I haven't danced.
He turned 30.
He turned 30.
30.
It was a surprise. Haven't been to a surprise party since I think I'm 16. So it was a blast. But I gotta tell you, I gotta start working out because every inch of my body hurts. Like, what happened? I'm feeling parts of my body that I've never felt before. So, how was your weekend?
Not that. No, it's not that.
No, it feels like I worked out, but
I cleaned out a storage unit.
Oh, interesting.
Yep. And I scheduled it to be picked up on Tuesday, so that I had a deadline. So and
good.
Eric thinks I'm being a little ridiculous because now it's crunch time tomorrow. Today. Well, by the time this airs, it will be gone, so it needs to be empty.
No, that's good. It's a good feeling.
Yeah, it was good, and I love throwing things out. So I put all of my baby toys that I just had in the storage unit out on the curb, and one of my neighbors walked by and was like, "Is there a parade?" Because I just lined them all up on the curb, and I was like,
"That's a lot of toys."
No. And my high chair and like strollers, you name it. And so someone came down my driveway and was like, "Is this stuff free?" And I said, "Please, yes, take it." And he said, "No, that's cool, but like maybe you want to put a sign out because I thought there was a parade or something." What do you think? I have like 12 children that are going to be sitting on scooters on the side of the road. So anyway, that was my weekend. So if you drive by my house, pick up whatever's on the curb. It's yours.
All right, go
it's
nuts.
Free. Yeah,
this is good.
This is it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of life after COVID, that's going to kind of be our first topic that we're going to cover.
Yeah.
We're kind of getting into life after.
Yeah.
How are we feeling?
I'm ready. I'm excited.
I'm with you.
And I have to say, like, as soon as our doors reopened, when we were allowed to, June of 2020, we just have hit the ground running, and it has been crazy in here. The amount of patients that are just like swarming in as if they're never going to see a dentist again, and I'm not mad about it. It's nice. It's definitely pushing us, and I love seeing people again. And I go to work. This is like my social time, so I know everyone laughs that like your dentist tries to talk to you, but I'm cleaning out storage units in my free time. So
yeah, it's been quite the whirlwind.
Yeah.
I feel like from the moment we opened the doors, and even the progression of when we first opened, and we had plastic everywhere, and we were double masked and hair netted and full like overcoats, and we've come a long way.
Yeah,
it's
it
nice
was like a scene out of a movie.
Yeah, it's nice
a little
to
bit of Dexter.
Breathe a little bit. Definitely a little Dexter, a little ET. I don't know. People said all those things as they walked in, so it's kind of nice to like rip down the plastic. And,
it was liberating.
Yeah.
So yeah, but now we're back in the swing of things, and I have to say, I know we're going to talk a little bit of dentistry here because it's our shtick, but the amount of patients that are coming in with the effects of grinding and clenching their teeth, the stress level that COVID induced was astronomical. And, if you weren't doing it, you're doing it now, whether you realize you're doing it or not. The grinding and the clenching, the broken teeth,
it's been
the chips and nicks and
recession,
you name
the
it,
sensitivity,
everything.
Yeah.
And it's across the board. Like, we have patients that have never had a cavity in their life, and they're coming in and they've broken an entire
full
crust.
blown. Yeah.
Like, how does that happen?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a little bit of this phenomenon of how stress is impacting people and dentally, and what we can do, and what just if we could acknowledge the trends that we're seeing and give everyone a heads up. You're grinding your teeth and you're clenching, and you should do something about it. You don't need to hang out with us in dentistry. We can hang out. You can help me clean out my storage unit. So, or we'll have a parade. I'm not really sure, but I'll do both.
Yeah. So, what do you think is the most common misconception of why people have recession?
Because I brush too hard.
Yeah.
Hear that one all the time.
Yes.
And unless you're brushing with steel wool, I promise you, it is not from the way that you brush your teeth. recession is directly, and I know we're not reading medical journals on your spare time, so that's what we do. So we'll fill you in on why that's happening. So there's grinders and there's clenchers. People that grind their teeth, you see the teeth get shorter, they get flatter, you get the chips and nicks in the front.
Yeah, that's more of like the side to the side motion or back and forth.
Yep. And then there's people that are clenchers, and clenchers just bring their teeth really tight together. And when you do that, you end up causing a stress that goes through the tooth to the most vulnerable part of the tooth, which is that little line of gum tissue that scallops around the teeth, as well as the base of the tooth, which is where your enamel meets your root surface. So I'm not going to get crazy dental with people, but when you're clenching all day long or all night long, you're actually impacting that tissue, and it starts shrinking away little by little by little, and we can measure it, and we see it all the time. And it's directly linked to the habit. And both things are treated the same way, right? We make night guards for both of those patients, for the grinders and the clenchers. And a lot of people don't even realize they're doing it.
I know, a lot of people will say like, well, I don't feel myself doing it. And a lot of times it's done in your sleep. And sometimes it's even done during periods of high focus, like people who work out or lift weights, or when you're like
when you're driving in the car.
Yeah, exactly. Commute, people with long commutes. But most of the people who do it during the day also do it at night. And even though you're not feeling the effects of it, I mean, that's a good thing. Like, we don't want you to get to that point. And it's like, well, you don't feel the effects, but we see them. So sometimes, we see it from a different angle. So, it's
and
nice
we see
to
it
have,
all day long.
And it's nice to have the tools that can kind of help us. From visit to visit, it gets hard to sometimes see the big changes, but now with a lot of this new technology, from visit to visit, we can really compare the changes. So it'll be nice for you guys to be able to see that too.
Yeah. So we'll show you a little bit of a clip of how our technology today can monitor these things. And again, we don't scan every single patient that walks into our office, but if something that we said struck a nerve in you, and you're like, maybe I do that. Just ask when you come in, and we're happy to scan you and at least document it, so that at each 6-month interval, when you come in to see someone like Jackie in our hygiene department, they can rescan you, and it takes all of 5 minutes, and you can see the actual progression or degradation of your teeth over time. And I think that's super informative. Seeing is believing, and I know you don't want to just trust us. That would be ridiculous. So
and then long-term effects of this on your teeth are
Oh, absolutely. So a lot of people, if you're a clencher and you're just doing the hold it strung together, what happens is you get these clefting at the bottom of the teeth. They're called abfractions. You could Google that. It's an easy thing, and you won't get anything super gross if you do. And so there are these V cutouts that happen at the gum line, and they collect food sometimes. They're sensitive. But really what it is, and my most favorite analogy to use, is that you're a tree, an axe cutter, and you're taking down a tree. And all you have to do is cut out a V at the bottom of the tree. And then someone puts a little bit of force on it, and the whole tree comes down. So this is the exact same thing, and if you could put that analogy, it makes it a little bit easier to understand the dentistry. But when that V gets deeper and deeper over time, you bite into something hard, and an entire cusp breaks off, and then we're stuck with doing dentistry. And again, you never had a cavity, you do good with taking care of your teeth, you brush, you floss, you do all that stuff, and now you're getting expensive dentistry like a crown. And so that's the common one in clenching. Grinding,
it's a whole different beast.
Absolutely. And we see the same thing. We see the broken teeth all the time, but
it's a lot of that is like the popping, the clicking, the muscle. And I always say with the grinding, it's like lifting weights. The more you do it, the stronger you become. So the more that you're grinding, exactly. So the more grinding you do, the more you build up this muscle. Getting yourself into a night guard will help to relieve a lot of that stress on the jaw and the muscle. And so,
and protect the teeth.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what we're in the business of, protecting teeth. Like, we really want to, like, we don't
want to do dentistry.
Exactly. Like, we give you, like, when you leave, we give you a goodie bag full of tools so that hopefully you don't have to come back and have dentistry done.
Yeah.
So prevention is key. And so,
absolutely. So I hope you learned something today. This is a little snippet of what we'd like to share with everybody. And,
if you guys have any topics that you are interested in or want to see covered, feel free to leave us a comment on our Facebook, our social media, and we'll be happy to cover it in a future episode.
Very nice.
Yes.
We'll
So we'll see you next Tuesday.